So hello everybody, Peter here, back again. Today I'm going to do some more Japanese lessons here because the power was out in the morning and I didn't really get time to record a reaction video. So I'm going to put out two videos today, and this first one's coming out just to go over a Japanese lesson first because with the power out I pretty much just decided to use the Anki app. If you don't know it, it's pretty much, I'll write it down here, it's just like Anki, just go into like whatever store and look up Anki. You'll find it there. They have all different kinds of languages you can learn, and it's a flashcard kind of centralized system. So you get flashcards and they'll kind of show you a sentence like this. And then you're supposed to just memorize what it means, flip the card over. And so this video will pretty much, we'll look at some of those sentences and we'll break them down into like their meanings. So as we can see with this one, I'm going to break it down to its meanings up top here. So above you can see all the meanings there. And below, this is where we get a bit more descriptive with things. So this sentence here, we can see in the beginning, we have this symbol, right? Up here, it'll let us know what it is. So watashi. And what does it mean? That means I. So when you talk about yourself, you would use watashi. Now it's very formal, so you don't really use this when you speak to people. You don't say like watashi, watashi, watashi. It just sounds stupid. We'll get into that in another video, but for now you don't really have to worry about it. Gaku, so it's pronounced as one thing, but gaku, and this is to learn. And then we have sei here, sa, and then i. Together they say sei, and you just pronounce it all in one. And this means bone or life, live. That's because it is context dependent, so this can change depending on other things. So you have to just, these are just things you have to know. We'll get into that when that time comes, but just keep it in mind. So then if we want to read this sentence here, let's just identify some other characters. We have a ha here, but we'll get into why it's pronounced differently. But we have a ha here, we have a de, and we have a su. And we can see this from the previous things we've gone over. You can check those videos in the playlist where I just go over this alphabet here, but it's the hiragana, just alphabet that I will use to kind of go back and talk about just things. So we can see the ha here. See, ha, that's how it's pronounced. We can get the su, which is over here, su, right? The T with the little 9 in it. And then we can get the de, it's just right here. The kind of backwards, the C with a line on top and 2 dashes on it. So now we'll get back into our sentence here and we'll kind of read it off. And so we have, it would be, if we're just reading it off, just ignore this for a minute, but it would be in the app, even like the Anki app, it's going to tell you that this is pronounced watashi ha gakusei desu. And what we have to kind of recognize with this sentence is that this ha is in a sentence. So whenever ha is in a sentence, you pronounce it like wa. And that's just something you have to know. It's just something Japanese people pick up on. It's just how it is. So just accept that. There are kind of conditions, like if someone's last name has this in it, you don't, I mean, you want to be careful about that kind of stuff. But typically, yeah, it's fine unless there's, so it's like it's in a sentence here and it's just pronounced like, yeah, wa. So you may see like from the beginning, I was kind of told about this, but there's kind of a wa down here. You might think, oh, well, isn't this wa? No, I don't even know what this is about, but I'm not going to explain it because I don't know. But what I have been told is that it's kind of for like children and stuff like that. And it's a grammatical, like it's more of a grammar thing. So when you speak, you use wa, but like it's written, it's going to be written like a ha. So you just have to know that when the difference between writing and speaking. Just remember those things. And that's what I kind of have down here. So you can see The wa part, this is also a note saying that the wa can be removed when you speak, because usually when you speak, you kind of get rid of a lot of the grammar stuff that's unnecessary. So like in this case, the wa is unnecessary. You don't really need to say it. You can just be like, watashi gaku desu. Watashi gakusei desu. Or gakusei desu. You don't even have to say, like, if someone asks you, right, you can just say, you don't even need the watashi part, because they pretty much know they're addressing you. You don't need to then clarify in the conversation, like, who you are, because you've already been, like, identified. You can just kind of start going with this. And so it says, like, I am a student. So if you say this, you go around saying, like, watashi wa gakusei desu. And it's like, I'm a student. And it's kind of like you're like kind of a bit of announcing it or something like that. But you'd use this kind of in the beginning, like if you haven't identified who's speaking and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty interesting with that sentence. And then we'll just kind of move into the next kind of term I have here to practice. And I'll block up the last thing we just did so that doesn't really bother people. And this one, we only have one kind of new symbol that we haven't learned that we need to practice. And this is one that's kind of popular, as you can probably figure out after I say it. But it's the word used for kind of wishing is kind of, wishing would be nega. And so what it is any, which is na, you have the h, so ha, ne, and then just the ga afterwards. And this pretty much is like kind of wishing. It's kind of like whatever you're doing, you're kind of being wishful about it. You're asking for like someone to treat you nice, things like that can be involved. We'll get into that. It's commonly used with e, so e usually comes afterwards. So here we have an example here, and this is yoroshiku onigai shimasu. And basically, like, kind of with the rest of this, you can see, like, the beginning, this, like, usually if you just have a friend you can just put it as, like, yoroshiku, right? You can just, like, use that with your friend. But, like, informal, you go out and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, yoroshiku onigai shimasu. And pretty much onigai shimasu means please. It's used as the end of a lot of things. So usually when you ask for something like a kaban, bag, or like haku, like if you need something, it would, you usually say onigai shimasu afterwards. Even I make the mistake of saying like kudasai, but kudasai is more like demanding. It's more like get it for me or something. Whereas onigai shimasu is like please do this for me. Or please treat me well in this case, like nice to meet you, please treat me well. So it's all these symbols from before that we know about. Yo, ro, shi, ku, o, and then negai, shimasu. And that's pretty much that. We'll have one more example of the ha, going back to ha here, a little bit of a test. Go back to ha. Here we have how to say good evening. So this is something, it's just like good evening, or you say good night, something you can usually say. Sometimes the guy on the news might say this, it's like, good evening type of thing. So it's ko, ban, wa. And as you can see, it's a ha, but it's in this sentence. So what happens? The ha becomes wa. So keep that in mind. Now I will do the last thing for today we will go over is this one. And this one's pretty, from what I understand, sounds very like a Google Translate thing. If you were to actually speak this, it sounds like you're like, it's very much asking like, what is this? But it's like you only would use it if you really don't know what something is. Like if it's some part to something, you don't know what it is, you can ask that. But like in Japanese, you usually objectify what you're talking about. So it's more useful to use like that part or like what you're talking about first and stuff like that. So this is more of like a, unless you're really confused about something, like don't really use this because someone might confuse them, you know? So this one, we're learning this symbol for nani. But in this sentence, you speak it as nan, because I guess putting the extra ni is just a lot of difficulty. So there's no really true explanation, but I guess like what my partner told me is that kind of like over time, maybe like it was just too difficult and people kind of got rid of the I and just kind of adopted this kind of phraseology or whatever. So we have the kore wa nan desu ka? Desu ka? I just pronounce it a bit better just so people understand. But usually like when you speak things, it kind of mushes a bit together from what I see. Like if you listen to Japanese people and stuff, if you actually like pronounce every single thing out like this, they might be like, they sound very like Western speaking or something. Might be like, kore wa nan desu ka? But even that sentence in itself sounds very Google translated and very much like, oh, this is like a foreigner speaking. They don't know what they're doing type of thing. So like these other options are more like maybe the broken down ones. You can just be like kore nani or nani kore, and it's kind of like just backwards and forth. Like this is what is this? Both of them work. But yeah, that's what I wanted to shoot out for some more Japanese lessons, just because I know there are some probably viewers who are very interested in learning Japanese, and just how do some of these words, how do some of these symbols even mean things? Because you might even just learn hiragana and be like, oh, right, I got it. Like I got the language down. But a lot of these are the common symbols that come up, and I'm just going to kind of go through them so that I can show you how I'm kind of learning things. Because I want to understand the symbols and how everything kind of works before I get into more of like practicing conversations and stuff like that, which I will focus on more once I like get to Japan and can actually practice with real Japanese people. And not that like I don't practice with my partner, but I think it's going to force me a lot to like go to the bank. I have to talk to someone. I have to go like into a store and talk to people. And that will be much more interesting to cover just conversation in a video for you guys. So for now, we'll just kind of teach some of the background stuff to kind of prepare yourself. And then in a month, we'll actually get into showing how this stuff pays off in some real conversation. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll try to get a reaction video out by tonight, but if I don't, it'll be first thing tomorrow. Thank you all for so much for your support, staying with us and staying with me and my channel, just supporting me, because yeah, this is all I have right now, and I'm really loving it. And I hope that everyone else is having a good time, things are okay with you, and maybe, you know, this is a fun learning experience for you too. So I'm excited to see where it goes. All right, have a good evening, guys. Konbanwa. Keep practicing.